What's up, everybody? So today I'm going to do a video of the last 55 items that I've sold on eBay. Just kind of going over a walkthrough of everything that's sold, what it actually sold for, and what kind of profit margin I had. I was actually surprised when I punched in all the totals into my spreadsheet to look at everything, because I typically don't keep track of it. I just kind of let it go and do what it does, let it do what it does. So, all right, let's get right into it. Alright, so I figured I'd start out with some of the stuff from my last video. First up is the Julep Nail Therapy. I sold it for a best offer of $20. I had $1.99 into this. Next is the Dr. Denise Neck Treatment. I had 99 cents of this. I sold it for full asking price of $59.99. Next is Zelda Ocarina of Time for Nintendo 64. I sold it for full asking price, actually, of $32.99. I have about $5 into it. Next is Gauntlet Legends for Nintendo 64. I sold it for a best offer of $37. I have about $5 in it as well. Next is Donkey Kong 64. I sold it for a best offer of $25. Again, I have about $5 into it. Next up is Diddy Kong Racing, Nintendo 64. I sold it for a best offer of $17. Had about $5 into it as well. Next is Goof Troop for the Super Nintendo. I sold it for a best offer of $15. I have $2 into it. Next is Tomb Raider Chronicles for the PlayStation. I sold it for a best offer of $17.99. Next is Silent Hill 4 The Room for PlayStation 2. I sold it for a best offer of $70. I had $3.49 into it. Next, we go into the card section. This is a Bianca Belair WWE NXT card. I sold it for $22. I had about $5 into it. Next is a Josh Rosen rookie. I had $5 into it. I sold it for a best offer of $30. Next is Clint Eastwood, Pieces of the Past, Army Jacket Relic. I sold it for a best offer. Actually, it went for full price, full asking price. I had about $5 in it. It went for $29.99. Next up is an Austin Rogers autograph out of Ellen Ginter Baseball. I sold it for a best offer of $21. Next is a lot of 140 packs of Stadium Club hockey, 93-94. I sold them for a best offer of $30. I don't have very much into these. I had like 2 cents a pack into them, so I've got about $2 invested in this lot that I sold. Next, we will go into our musical section. First up is a Fleetwood Mac self-titled 8-track. I sold it for a best offer of $24.99. Most of these 8-tracks I have about a quarter a piece into them. So, next up is the Black Sabbath Master of Reality 8-track. I sold it for a best offer of $30. Again, only a quarter invested in it. Next is the Blue Cheer Vincibus 8-track that I sold for a best offer of $95. Next up is the SRC self-titled Capitol Records 8-track. I sold it for full asking price of $49.99. Again, have a quarter in it. Next is Pink Floyd Adam Hart Mother 8-track. I sold it for full asking price of $39.99. Next is the Moby Grape self-titled 8-track. I sold it for a best offer of $30. Again, a quarter in it. Next is King Crimson and the Court of the Crimson King 8-track. I sold it for a best offer of $38. Next is the Todd Burge CD Building Characters. Sold it for a full asking price of $5.99. I only had a dime in it. Next one, I got in a large lot of CDs that I actually ended up getting for free. It was kind of a part of a previous lot that I had purchased, so I had some money invested in it, but I consider this lot for free. I sold it for a best offer. Actually, no, I sold it for full asking price of $249.99. Like I said, I didn't have anything invested in it. So next is a lot of CDs by Sasha Mueller. I sold them for a full asking price of $17.99. Next section is my cassettes. Most of these are brand new sealed. I actually think all of them are. I don't think I've sold any recently that were not sealed. But the Brian Ferry Roxy Music, I sold it for a best offer of $8. Next is Eric B. and Rakim. I sold it for a best offer of $20. I had a quarter invested in it. Next up is Fishbone cassette, the reality of our surroundings. I sold it for a best offer of $15. Next up is The Red Shoes by Kate Bush. I took a best offer on this of $12. Next is Step in the Arena by Gangstar. I sold it for a best offer of $23. Next is Kenny Loggins, Outside from the Redwoods. I sold it for a full asking price of $14.99. Next is the Beverly Hillbillies original soundtrack. I sold it for a best offer of $8. Next is the Little River Band, Worldwide Love. I accepted a best offer on it for $10. Next is TLC, Ooh on the TLC Tip. I accepted a best offer on it for $23. Next is the Rippingtons, Tourist in Paradise. I sold it for a best offer of $14. The next two items are identical. They're both a workout roller for deep tissue massage. I have $8 invested in each one. I sold both of them for $29.99 a piece. Next is South Beach Sciences Inner Light, 100% natural and soluble propylene fiber. I sold it for a best offer of $28. I had $1.99 invested in it. Next is When Chasdeen Fall Ginger Pump Cleansing Conditioner. I sold it for a best offer of $25. I had $5 invested in it. Next was an item I knew nothing about. I took a gamble on it. I found it at my local restore. I paid $15 for it. It looked like it was all brand new. So, and a couple individual pieces were selling for anywhere from $75 to $150 a piece. So I listed the whole thing as an open box item at $400, and I did get my full asking price of $399.99. Next is my puzzle section. I sold this Seascapes jigsaw puzzle for full price of $29.99. Next is the Rock of Salvation Thomas Kincaid puzzle. I sold it for a best offer of $19. Next two items are identical again. I sold two of the Stairway to Dreams puzzles. Sold them each for a best offer of $20. Each of the puzzles I had $2 invested in them. Next is a 57 Chevy model that I sold for full asking price of $79.99. I had $10 invested in it. Next begins our clothing section. I sold this Humvee combat vest, photography, fishing vest, whatever you want to use it as. I sold it for $35. I had $3.49 in it. This Cleveland Browns pullover jacket, it was a 5X. Large sizes usually sell pretty well, so I had listed it for $50. I took a best offer of $30. I had $3.49 invested in it. I sold this Ford shirt, the Piquet plant. I sold it for a full asking price of $19.99. I had $1.99 invested in it. Next was a Kentucky Wildcats sweatshirt. I sold it for a best offer of $19. I had $3.49 in it. Next is this vintage Western Plains Trading Company rodeo shirt. I sold it for a best offer of $22. I had $2.49 invested in it. Next is a lot of 8 pairs of doll shoes, doll and bear shoes. I sold it for a best offer of $15. I had about $5 invested in it. Next is this Dalvin Cook autographed jersey. I had about $50, I'm going to guess, estimate into it. I got it in some group breaks that I was involved in a while back, and I sold it for a best offer of $100. Next is this West Virginia University football jersey. It appeared to be game issued or game worn, possibly even. It looked like it was, from what I could find out, number 57 was Zach Cooper. I paid $3.49 for it. I sold it for a best offer of $100. Next is this WaterWise Model 8800 countertop water distiller that I actually sold for full asking price of $300. I paid $20 for it at my local restore. Next is this Animal Planet or Disney Animal mug. I sold it for a best offer of $12. I had 75 cents in it. And last but definitely not least, I sold these 2 bars of Cashmere Bouquet soap. That's a vintage pack of soap. Sold them for $28.49. I had $1 invested in them. Alright guys, so that's what's sold over the past month and a half or so. My last 55 items that sold. If you like what you see, make sure and give me a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe. Share my channel out there. I'm trying to get my YouTube channel built up. Eventually, once I get some stuff built up, I will be doing giveaways and different things like that. So make sure, like I say, give it a thumbs up, like. So on this video, my cost of all my goods that I purchased was about $215. So what I sold it for, if you add up all the totals that I told you throughout the video, I created a spreadsheet. So it's my total was $2,520. So almost $2,200 in profit, or actually a little over $2,200 in profit. Not including fees or anything like that. So it's not all profit. About 10% of that goes to fees. Then I also have shipping in there. So I'm gonna say I probably had about $1,800 to $1,900 in profit throughout all that. So like I say, look forward to doing more videos. Like I say, if you subscribe, all that stuff, like, thumbs up, everything. I'll look forward to seeing you in the future.